back to the Ultimate Homeschool Community Podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Hernandez. And today we have one of our authors with us from Unleashed. Bree is here with us. She wrote her chapter all about neurodivergence, and she is so excited to share with us all about that. So welcome, Brandie.
Super excited to be here. It was such a journey to write the book, and I'm just so excited to share it with everybody. I can't wait till it comes out.
Yes, we have our wonderful book here. Super excited for it to come out in print. And Brandie really shares with us in this book about breaking those barriers to build futures, especially for neurodivergence. Part of the NeuroSpicy team. Interesting to see, how shifting within education, because man, if I had different help when I was going through school myself, like where I always wonder like where I would be instead of where I'm at now. So can you share with us a little bit about that? Because, in your chapter, you immediately start talking about fitting round pegs in square holes, and it just so well with so many of our neurodivergent listeners.
Absolutely. So I myself am neurodivergent. I'm ADHD, and I have every dis under the sun. So I have dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and dyslexia. So that basically means I can't read, write, or do math. Until I was in the fifth grade. It actually took one teacher noticing that my amazing, sparkling personality was picking up on social cues, and I wasn't actually reading a thing because I couldn't. In high school, by my high school guidance counselor, that I wouldn't even graduate high school, that I would be a drug addict or dead or in jail, or like basically I would be a statistic. She told me that in her office, something in me, because I am not a dumb person. I just don't think like everybody else. I've set out to prove her wrong. And I did go to college. I have my master's degree, and I'm a doctoral candidate as well now. So, we, as neurodivergent people, need to start talking more about our brains and what we're doing and how we're doing it and just how we're different, because we're not less. And that I hear a lot of the times is that people who are neurodivergent feel like they're less or inadequate, and we're not, shape or form.
And then all of the stigma that has also come through, like when we were growing up, of mental health and really like figuring out, okay, later now that they've done more research, it's like, no, those two things aren't actually connected, although they do have comorbidities. Like
Right,
there's multiple things that could be going on in the brain. That doesn't mean that we are less than. It's a bad thing. Like
right.
we were just differently, whether that was from our external or internal influences. So fairly having to do a lot of finagling to figure out where their student fits, how they fit, and to I've seen to really handle that. Can you share some of that and how you're helping?
So I was in public education for many years, and then I jumped ship and went to private education as an administrator. And what I found was our traditional schooling is not set up for the neurodivergent brain in any way, shape, or form. It's actually set up opposite of how we think. A certain class and listen to a teacher talk at them does not work for our brains. We need to be up and moving and active and interacting and all of those multisensory things that people talk about. We need. It is not something that is a bonus. We can't learn without those things. What I found in education is people are scared of the unknown. They're scared of change. Education in general has turned from fun, understanding, and deep thought into teach to the test, pressure and anxiety. And I didn't want to do it anymore. And I hated watching my kids walk into school in tears because it felt like they couldn't do something. And I know that feeling all too well because I had that feeling in school. It literally came down to one day I was frustrated at the end of a school year, nothing was working, and my husband said, "You've always wanted to do your own thing and change the world, so do it." So at Crayons to Credits,
Wow.
we take amazing. At Crayons to Credits, we've taken everything that I've learned over the years, all of the research that is out there, all of the expertise, and we've created an environment where our neurodivergent brains not only survive, but we're thriving. We are watching our kids grow and blossom, and not just academically, because for us, and especially for neurodivergent people, there's more that goes into education than just the academics. There's so many
Oh yeah.
nuances, like social skills and interpersonal communication, being able to do what we're doing in our small groups and watching the success that we're having is like I could talk for hours over how doing it and how things are working in our classrooms and how awesome it is. But the really, really cool thing is you can take our ideas and our models and our strategies and you can apply them anywhere. You can apply them in a public school. You really could, but it takes shifting your mind different way. And people are scared to do that, which is why I love like what we're doing because we're doing it and we're the success stories now and we're telling people you can take the risk. It's not. Good teaching is good teaching is good teaching. Whether you're
Right.
neurodivergent or neurotypical, it doesn't matter because you're getting good evidence-based practices behind you. It's been, this journey and going through what we're going through and parents struggling and trying to fit their kids that don't fit in the box. They're trying to shove them in that box. You don't have to anymore. There's alternative education options out there and it's free because it's kind of taboo, that alternate education and micro schools and all homeschooling and unschooling and all of those scary words, but they're only scary because you don't know. Realize how awesome it could be and you see it. So for us being these on the forefront of what we're doing and kind of taking that barrier down, not only for parents, but for students and organizations and everything, like we can change the world and we are at a time, but we're not done, which is like the
Right.
coolest part. Like we're not. Like our book is great, wonderful. We have it out. That's just the beginning, as we both know, because we're both crazy and it's
Exactly.
awesome.
I get so excited talking about it all because, like you, was able to perform in school, and my anxiety really, like my perfectionism, I could read. I was like in the slow kid class back in like early elementary, and like, why am I having like, why am I in the slow kid class? Why are they reading that book and I'm reading this book? Like, I didn't understand it.
Mhm.
Wasn't the same diagnoses, but my mom's like, well, you weren't like ADHD like this when you were little. Like you didn't have all these problems. I'm like, no, I just masked them so well
Mhm.
that nobody knew. Like not even
And
I knew.
that is such a common story is that people are masking and one of our students has was kicked out of 7 schools before he came to us. He has like 145 IQs or 150 IQ. Like the kid's ridiculous. But nobody took the time to talk to him and understand how he worked because all they saw was the problem kid. He was with us all last year. He's coming back this year and he has thrived. He's gone from the kid that nobody likes to like the most popular kid at our entire school. He has friends. He's engaging in conversation. He's mentoring little ones. And all we did was change his environment to him. A kid who had such bad anxiety in school, he was literally hiding in bathrooms. Hours. Hours. He walks into our school singing now. And it's
That's
because
awesome.
all we did was change that environment and make the students feel safe, heard, seen, and valued. Any
Right.
parent that's listening that has a neurodivergent child or is wondering if their child's neurodivergent and what's going to happen to them, and oh my goodness, it's going to be okay. Your journey does not have to look like anybody else's. And educators that want to start something, breathe. It's going to be okay. And
Yes.
that's my mantra this year is no stress. Like everything's okay. We're all in this together and it doesn't have to be a battle anymore. We don't need to fight against each other. We all need to work together.
I'm all about that.
And our kids are seeing that and Alberta, whole different ball game down here with education.
Oh, yes.
But what we're building in our homeschool and micro school community down here is never seen before. Working together and we're building these pods of learning and kids are being successful. It is something that I never thought I would do. I thought I would be a classroom teacher my entire life. I thought I was going to be in a traditional classroom, but do things a little differently. Here I am, 2 years later with a growing micro school that's been amazing. Like we're starting a full-time program this year. Like like it's gonna be okay. That's like my biggest mantra that I tell everybody all the time. Like, everybody breathe. It's gonna be okay.
Another interview with another third friend of mine who's in homeschool, and he took my comments putting on the curriculum like no one's gonna die. And so I feel
Right.
like that's the same mantra for education is like it have to look like traditional education. Like no one's gonna die that they didn't take a test or stay on state standards or like do
Right.
things differently. Like your kid's not gonna die, okay? We want them to thrive, and that's what this is all about. So with that, because I want to hop into the chapter a little
Yeah.
bit. You yourself, you know, being a neurodivergent person, it dealing with this now, leading other neurodivergents. Share a little bit of that because I also speaking with several people. I think a lot of us are just undiagnosed. I don't think there is any neurotypical. Quite frankly, I think there's just different versions of how divergent everybody is. Because
I agree with you.
okay,
That I
thanks.
agree.
So the neurotypicals are like, what do you mean we're not broken? Like, just wait until you figure it out. Like, we all just have to come to our realizations. Really figure out, okay, for the parents who are dealing with these students, you know, there's so many different learning styles. And like you
Ah.
said, you're taking it into consideration, all these different sensory things. Do that without like overwhelming yourself trying to plan.
The thing I can say is don't overplan activities, and you want things that are engaging and you want your student to be interested. Know that going into it, your best plan may just go out the wayside, and that's okay. What we do is we take our concept, whatever concept it is, and we have various activities that kind of hit all of the different modalities and learning styles and things like that. So within what we're doing, every child in some way, shape, or form. It comes down to, okay, does my student do better just memorizing? Because some kids do better just memorizing, and that's okay. It's okay
It's
if your
okay.
likes to use workbooks, they can use workbooks. If you like to go and have real world experiences, go find those real world experiences. Your mastery criteria does not have to be a traditional test. I hate traditional tests. I do well with them. I have anxiety and I feel like, oh my God, I need to make the game. I need to make that grade, that grade level. You don't have to. Like you said, you're not gonna die. It's okay. Make fun. If you're as a parent or as an educator having fun, the students will have fun. You lead by example. So if you're being silly, I literally tell my staff, if you feel stupid doing it, you're doing it right. It's like get goofy with your kids, make the slime, talk about fractions, get messy, mix it all up. Like use cooking, use dirt, use whatever your student is into to get that concept across. It does not have to look like I teach you
Right.
that. That's not how it has to work. And bread of your own mold, adding movement into your lessons, something like that, little things. And when I movement, I don't mean like it has to be big, grandiose things. Like one of my strategies for addition for like counting on. So if it's like 5 plus 6, sit there and we go, dump it in your head. Number 5. And just that tapping and movement. So say movement, it doesn't like parents are always like, how do I get them? I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Simple. Keep it simple. You and your children the best, fun, and enjoy the journey. Really enjoy
Yeah.
that time. Have fun, add those small little movement breaks in. Biggest thing is if your kid needs a break, they don't have to sit for 3, 4 hours at a time. Don't like your schedule can look different. And that's the cool thing with, especially with neurodivergent kids, because they might be able to work for 10 minutes, but then they need a 10-minute break. And parents and educators like, that's not okay. They have to sit and finish. And I'm like, who said they had to finish in that time period? It's kind of, when you say, how do you do that? You go by what the kid's interested in. And if you notice that glazed over look, every kid gets, that you've lost, you just have to switch gears. And you, as an adult, have to have the flexible thinking. A lot of times it's us that have a problem, not the kid.
So I can share how I've done all the wrong things in our own homeschool because I was like OCD. Okay, so you got the ADHD and the OCD, and they're like, we have the ADHD with like my other two as well, my older two kids, and it's like we've literally tried all the curriculum, which is why I'm like, just drop the curriculum, just drop
Drop the
it
curriculum.
together.
Yep.
We did do one curriculum. I'm like, we're gonna get through one whole curriculum this year. It was just a history portion, and it was just like the writing portion, but oh my gosh, did they fight me on it. And I'm like, point do you say like, no, okay, we are gonna get this done? Because for us, for me, it was like, okay, I just want you to have accomplished one thing, like one whole thing. I like about pulled my hair out this year. Now, my oldest child did finish. My middle child, who has the most ADHD issues, did not finish. Didn't suit him. However, because we've tried so many curriculums, I'm like, do anything. I think they've like been so, and this is also for the people who are like coming out of traditional school
Hmm.
into homeschool or alternative learning. You need to look up deschooling because we did
Yes.
that negatively impacted our transition to this day.
So it's ask me all the time, what curriculum do you use? And my answer is yes. We pull, I'm not kidding you, from about 7 or 8 different curriculums, and we make pretty much all of our own things. We go by student interest. So
Okay.
when you
Yeah.
walk into our back room, our storage room, it's like, what? And I'm like, because that curriculum might not work for that kid right now, but this one will. So that's what I mean when we say customized education, especially in homeschooling. Like you said, you don't have to stick to that curriculum. If that curriculum's not working, shut up. Hey, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean you're not doing it. That program didn't work for your child or you. Because sometimes it doesn't work for the adults. And I feel like adults are scared to give it up.
Yes.
And but it's okay.
I paid big dollars. That's the problem. Like, God, I told you, I've like spent thousands of dollars on curriculum. And then there's several parents that are like, well, I've bought it, so we're finishing it, and this is what you're doing. And like, I've been there and I've done that, and I've learned my lesson the hard way, like down the drain. But the
Is
most
it?
important
See, I
thing,
challenge that thinking because it's not dollars down the drain because you've learned your child and
oh,
you've learned
yes.
what works for them and what works for you. So I challenge parents when they say, "Oh, but I spent the money." And I'm like, "Well, you did, but you also spend the money on groceries that your kid might not eat that you throw away. Or you spend the money on that sports team and the kid quit halfway through the season."
Yeah.
It just so give yourself grace.
Yes, that's what I was coming.
You, I, parents that homeschool and unschool and do all, you guys are so hard on yourselves. Knock it off.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was coming here to say too, is like, have to be the facilitator and the educator and the teacher. Like, this is where the microschool comes in. And yes, it is a sacrifice, but here's the thing, like, you're over here, you have 7 or 8 different the curriculums that you can pull from. And the benefit of the parent coming to get some
Right.
supplemental help is because now they're fully addressing what your child actually needs without you having to go out and fork out 8 different curriculum
And
costs.
and guess what? You're no longer fighting with your kid to get things done. You have a better relationship with your child. Parents, we do the crap, you do the fun. Like I love teaching math, which people think I'm crazy because I love teaching math. It's because watching our kids make progress, we have fun doing it and we have a different relationship with your child as an educator, as a teacher than you do as a parent. To ask for help and to find a microschool or a co-op or a drop-off program that works for you and your family, that doesn't make you a failure as a parent. That makes you smart because you're asking for help. It doesn't mean that what you're
Right.
doing is wrong. It's not the right way to do it. It's how your family needs it. And that's okay
Yeah. Okay, so something that I've struggled with being ADHD, like just finding out we're ADHD like last year and been homeschooling for over It's like, okay, now we need to look at some other alternatives, and coming into the microschool space and seeing what it's all about and learning about unschooling and learning about deschooling. It's a journey. And I do this podcast specifically because I don't want people to feel like failures. Like what you're saying has been my lived experience. And I'm sick of feeling guilty or shameful, or, like my kids aren't getting the best education because of my fault, because we put so much pressure on ourselves to perform.
Do as adults, and our kids feel that. And I tell parents it's okay to reach out for help. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to not know. You think every certified teacher knows everything? Like, come on, let's be honest, we don't. It's okay to do that. And that's why I love like the book, because there's so many different ones, like perspectives and what to do. And it's a great starting point for parents that are overwhelmed, because there are so many different aspects in the book. Like that chapter on AI, which like blew my mind,
Mm-hmm.
because but I haven't been using it well. So like even I'm learning from other educators all the time.
Yes.
And ask questions. Model for your kids how to ask questions and how to be vulnerable, because that's a bigger lesson than learning how to divide polynomials.
Well, so can we talk about that too? Because I
Yeah.
feel like, so we have the unschooling people that are like, no, we just need to know for like what our learned experiences are, and we don't need all this information. So unless if my kid's gonna go and be like a sci-fi doctor or something, all this high level math, but required for diploma. So how do we justify some things? And then on the other side, it's like, well, but you're exposing them to different ways of learning, and they are learning how to learn.
So I like to use
Yeah.
my algebra 2 curriculum, as I call it, as that example. For algebra 2, the concepts are like big concepts. They're hard concepts, and most kids reach that algebra 2 kind of level in high school, if not beyond. And parents kind of freak out at that level because it's beyond what most of us remember. Project-based learning and exploratory learning. You have the kids take control of the concepts at that point. And you kind of take a breath and you take a back seat, and you're a facilitator and you're not rushing through. I tend to look at the big concepts, not the nitty gritty little benchmarks, the little things that because that public school gets caught up on, that they need this. I look at the overall concept, look at, okay, what do they need to know to get to that concept? And then break it down from there. So dividing polynomials, a lot of kids that, I'll be honest with you, they're not going to be mathematicians when they get older. They shouldn't be. And that's hey. So what we do is I talk about it as we're learning the process of learning. We're learning how your brain works. You're right. You may technically never see a polynomial. They're out there, by the way. But you may never see it or not know you're looking at it, but you're learning how your brain works along the way, and that's where the learning is. That's where the real education is.
Right.
And if a kid hates math, because a lot of kids do, they hate writing.
Yes.
If your kid hates writing, the biggest tool you have is your voice to text thing. Our kids love to, this generation, they love to type. Type is writing. Because it's not traditional. It's okay. Like I have parents freaking out because their kids don't know how to write an essay. I'm like, but they do. You just have to teach them how to talk it out with a voice to text. And the essays that they come up with, because they're using voice to text, blowing. It's that kind of thing. Like, look at the big concepts of what you want your kid to learn. Look at the big concepts, the state standards. What are they trying to convey? What is their end product they want? Backwards from there, but don't get caught up on the little details, or else you're going to drive yourself crazy.
Seen a lot of parents get stuck on the scope and sequence, and I'm like, there's so many scope and sequence things out there. And then you multi ages in your own
Yep.
home, and there's multi ages in the classroom. So we're like bouncing all these different things, and people just get overwhelmed, and they're like, I don't know how you homeschool. Like that's just a full-time job, and that because we are constantly learning every day in every way, and I'm not the facilitator of everything.
Right.
I be making sure they don't, users and go run around the house with them, but we're
We have a
still
saying.
learning.
We have a saying in our office, don't steal their struggle. Come in and save
Yes.
the day every time. It's okay if they cut that paper wrong on the project. it's okay if you're building something. I had a parent call me one day, and I'm not kidding you, in a full-blown meltdown because they bought one of those kits online, one of the many kits, and the kid was doing it and they broke a piece while doing it. I am telling you, this parent was in a full-blown meltdown. And I said to her, why are you so upset? Well, because I bought this kit and I wanted them to do this process, and now they're not going to get the end product. And I said, but what did they learn? Like, how to fail. Congratulations. You literally just taught your child how to fail with grace, and you taught them that things aren't always going to go their way. And that was a bigger life lesson. And he's like, I didn't I? I'm like, you did. And
Yeah.
then she called me back 2 days later and said her kid found a workaround and they got the thing to work. And I said, see what happens when you don't come in and steal their struggle? Because she wanted to go buy a new part and I told her not to. I said, this happens when you don't
Oh
steal
my
their
gosh, no.
struggle, figure it out.
Well, and the thing is like in life, how many times are we having to figure it out? Just for me to get onto the podcast with you today, tell you how many places I've been to before getting to a location where I have internet and I had to figure it out. And like my kids are physically troubleshooting with me all the
I love
things
it.
that we have to think about to get there. Like they didn't want to be outside at the playground. It was hot. We couldn't go into the fire hall because we didn't have the keys. And so be it. So I had to call my husband, get keys from his car, drive to another fire hall. Like they're inside, I'm in my car. Everybody's happy, but like it took us one, two, because we try to do it at home too. But that's a part of life. Like, we're not just worried about their education and how good they could do in a test. We're worried about life as a test. Like, life is a struggle. And
Yeah,
man, oh man, like, if we don't include them in that and figure out the struggle for them, they are going to have so many more struggles later on in life. I don't do kids' laundry anymore.
good.
They're 11 and 9. I don't do their laundry. Why? They do it. That is part of the life lesson.
And what I have found is that some parents that have neurodivergent kids get really scared because they look at them as disabled. They look at them as different because that's what we're programmed for. And so
Yes.
feel like they have to do more. When in reality, sometimes doing less is more. Sometimes letting them figure it out and will maybe upset you along the way because maybe that laundry is not done correctly the first couple of times, or maybe they didn't put it away right away, or they're not doing it how you want it to be done. But give them a chance to explore. And then it's a conversation about what worked, what didn't work, what can we tweak, how can we do it. I taught like your kids even today was things don't work out, but we're going to make it work. And we need to have flexible thinking and understanding and grace for everybody involved.
Yes, it is hard. I will say, like
Oh,
at
absolutely.
at some point throughout the day, like mom can get really frustrated, and my limit of being overstimulated is shot. Right?
So I tell parents that get that way, I say, it's okay to tell your child overstimulated
Oh,
right
I do.
now,
Oh,
and
yes.
I need a break. So I'm going to go away, take what, and it's hint, nudge, nudge. If they need to be on a device while you take a break, it's okay. Don't feel guilty.
Yes.
Like, that's
Yes.
okay. Go take your 10, 15 minutes, do your deep breathing exercises, do your yoga. And because what you just taught them is you taught them that it's okay to do that with their brain when they get older, but you have to communicate it. You yell at people, you don't scream at people, you don't
Yes.
do that. You communicate. I feel this right now. I need to go handle that. I will be right back. Now you're teaching productivity as well, because when you're overstimulated,
Right.
no productive.
No, don't do it either, right? Like they get frustrated with each other. It's a constant conversation about, okay, well, if you're feeling this way, did you not gonna know unless if you open your mouth about it?
Right.
It's the same way. It's the same way. I think a lot of schools too with bullying and all these other things, like we're not giving them the tools as much as we want to share really what's inside. And so it comes out in like the worst ways.
The beauty of the alternative education because we are teaching that now. Because to
Yes.
be honest with you, like being a public school teacher, you don't have time. You have
No.
25, sometimes 40 kids in a class. Like my stepson had 65 kids in one of his classes. And
A college class.
I'm like, how on God's green earth does one person teach 65 ninth graders? You don't. That's why alternative education is so amazing. And don't get me wrong, public school is great for certain kids. I am not an anti-public school person.
Yes, same.
For the kids that it doesn't work for, they're all alternatives. And it's okay. We need to model that as adults too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so with your program, because I know, you are limited to your location, but you do offer
I do.
help at location. Can you share a little bit about that? Because it's like we want to think about, okay, well, how do I fix this for my kid if
Mhm.
I'm not in an area near one of these micro schools that works for my
Absolutely.
kid? A, you can build your own, right?
Right.
Or B, you come and find a group of people that can help you.
Right. So one of the cool things that we do is we're educational consultants. So one service that we offer is you can sign up for a monthly Zoom call with me. It could be more, everything's customizable. And there it literally I have parents that I coach. I have educators that I coach. I don't have to be in front of you. I might ask you to record or I might ask you to go live with me so I can actually see what's happening in the moment. It's a got you, you did something bad. It's a how do we tweak it? How do we make it better? So one of the things that we do is the online coaching. I also go out and I do professional development all around the country. So I'll go to schools, if there's a group of micro schools in a state that want to get together, I will come out and do that. I have no problem doing it because that in person really does help sometimes. So I have no problem coming out and doing that. I do workshops at conferences all over the country. I think the next one is in Texas. I also keynote speaking because I want to get the word out. And any way I can help, I will. So if at any point a parent they don't know where to start or they don't even know what to do, or you're an educator and you don't know what to do, but you know there's something you have to do, reach out. We're here to help. The authors in our book, like seriously, any one of us in the book can definitely help you. But one-to-one coaching is really the part of this that I love. Like the micro school is great. I do the direct teaching. It's wonderful. But teaching others how to do what we do is what gets me up and jazzed every day. So I love when people reach out and even just shooting me a quick question. Hey, my kid's dysgraphic and they can't make the letter B. What do I do? And I'm like, oh, girl, you can do this strategy, this strategy, this strategy. Let me know. And if those don't work, I have more. Like I have bags of tricks that I can like definitely help with.
I think that's so crucial too. You're not to people like, hey, I'm here to solve all the problems and just come to me. It's like, I am here to empower you to solve the problems so
Yes.
that you can go out and empower the next person to solve their problems. And then we can like get this thing going faster and push that impact further,
Yep.
because the whole goal that we're trying to do with this movement is provide it for every student that needs it.
Right.
Like, even though they might need it, they might not be able to have it because of their location or whatever.
Right. They might not be able to. So that's the great thing. I mean, the internet's a wonderful thing. Emails a fantastic, text messages are a fantastic thing. Like all of us are only, there's a whole support system out there. You just have to
Yes.
ask for help. And I really do love helping people and I love empowering, like especially parents that don't think they can. Yes, you can. Let's do it together. Like you're not alone. And I help them. And then when they don't need me anymore, I back off. I'm not the kind of person that like I tell everybody I'm not a gatekeeper. Like I'm not here to like keep all the kids myself. Like, you so you can help more kids. Nope, there it is. I was gonna say you froze, but now you're are you there? Did you freeze or did I freeze? Jumps back on. There she is.
That happened. Okay, there we go. We're back. We're back in business.
No worries.
Um, I know what you mean with being like the gatekeeper, because there is some programs that are like, yes, we are gatekeeping and you come to us for everything, and we're over here like saying, no, I'm going to give you all the tools that you need to empower you to do the thing, and then go help somebody else, because then I can help them and they can empower. You're here to people that almost there, and it's like internet is almost just not wanting to work with us today, but we're done. So where
That's
can they
okay.
go if they want to find you?
Oh, we are everywhere. So it's crayons, the number two credits.com is our website. And that's probably the quickest way to find us. You can find us on Facebook at Crayons to Credits Educational Consulting. We're on TikTok. We're on LinkedIn. If you search Crayons to Credits, you will find us. I promise you. Best email to get is always info@crayons, the number 2, credits with an S.com, because that's the fastest response you're going to get. If you email me directly, you're going to get a response very quickly. Everybody email that one because that goes to like 4 different of my staff. So somebody will email you back.
Great. Well, this has been such a pleasure, Brandie, and I really appreciate you coming on and sharing. We'll have to have you come on again.
Anytime. I so excited. And thank you for like figuring out the internet. We did it. Woo!
We did. We finished the thing. All right, everyone. Happy homeschooling. Thanks so much for joining me on the Ultimate Homeschool Community Podcast. Before you go, though, don't miss out. Check those show notes down below so you can get those exclusive freebies and helpful resources and some practical tips that we've been sharing to support your homeschool journey. If you found value in today's episode, which I'm sure you have, please, please, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, share it with another parent who needs it. You know, the more reviews and comments that we get, the more parents we can reach with the support they need. And so your next step towards confident homeschooling is literally just a click away. Just check below. So just check out those notes and we'll see you next time.